Let's see, he's gonna drop a couple more in a few minutes. Maybe.
Hopefully.
Your shoe will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
She said 3.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, this is Trooper Joe here on Wednesday on ArchAngel, our return to Chivalry, folks. And I have my hat on this week, so you know it's me. Because it can't be me without the hat. Oh, sometimes it can. I'm not that smart to always show up with my hat. But I got my hat on today. I'm here, ready to talk a little bit to you about a couple of things to make you become an Archangel yourself. Or even if you don't want to become an Archangel, just to hopefully it'll improve your existence and you'll have a better way of looking at life. But before we start that, yeah, I gotta send out my heartfelt sorrows for the people down in Houston. I used to live in Houston, so I know that they'll be all right. You know, they'll be able to take care of all that water that's there and stuff, and they'll clean up and they'll be all right. You know, they're a pretty hard, resilient kind of people down there. So I'm not too worried about them in that regard. But boy, I remember when I was down there and Rita came through right after Hurricane Katrina. You know, and then here comes Rita, and you know, the hurricane itself wasn't all that bad. A lot of wind. Dead leaves and trees fall over and stuff, signs fall off of buildings just not secured. And it didn't have as much rain as they get in there now. But I had just missed that. It was just a tropical storm probably about a year and a half before I got there, or a year. And that flooded out Houston really bad. So I know that when I was there, they were increasing the size of the bayous and making them flow a whole lot better and stuff, and working on the levee. So I don't think Houston proper, according to what I saw in the paper and the map, really got inundated. But the surrounding area, because Houston's just flat, and there's a high water table. So the surrounding area, Sugar Land and Port Arthur, and all those places like that, they got beat up by the water. Because they get in, they ain't got nowhere to go. And yeah, that highway they showed in Houston, it goes downhill. Then it comes up. It's like, okay, it's going to flood, whether it's a rainstorm or somebody spit. It's going to flood anyway. But yeah, they'll be all right. They'll be all right. And I'm really proud of the people in Boston and other areas that are sending in things to help with the people that's displaced. Because that must hurt. You got to, you know, they're getting out their houses. They're not packing. They're not planning to get out. You know, they're just taking whatever on their back, a couple of extra things, and getting out. So they were in need of a lot of things outside of food, because everybody sends food. We're a hungry nation, I guess. Everybody likes to send food, and so that's good. They need food and water too, but you know, that's usually taken care of by the government and stuff. But the clothing, the baby things, toiletries, those type of things like that, that's important. Because that brings you back to making you feel as though you're a civilian, a person, you know?
Sure.
Will?
Can I just interrupt you for one quick second, please? If you are interested and you want to call in, you have any comments about what's going on in Texas, about whatever it is that Trooper Joe is talking about, you can feel free to call in at 323-870-4069. Again, that is 323-870-4069. Troop didn't have the number on the wall, but we'll make sure that's in there next week so you can read it off every time.
Yeah.
But the number is 323 870-4069.
Yeah, we can just call on in if you want to call in. You know, I'm glad to hear from you. You know, if you just want to sit back and listen, just sit back and listen. Text, do anything you want to do. You know, this show's for you. It's not for me. I just ramble a lot. So this show definitely for you, and hopefully that, like I say, you can get a little bit out of it and stuff. But there's another issue that I'm getting really tired of, folks, and I know this really isn't part of my of the theme of the show. It is part of ArchAngel, though. I'm not going to lie to you. I find it to be really a big part of ArchAngel. I am so tired. I am exhausted tired. I am beyond exhausted tired about the way we just have adopted racial prejudice to be the catch-all for anything that we want. If the soup's cold, it's because, well, you know, you're black. That's why they gave you the cold soup. If your coffee's cold, it's the same thing. You got cold coffee because you're black, and you know if you were white, you would have got hot steamed coffee. It's like everything now is coming racial prejudice. It's amazing to me. It's like, people, really? You know, are you really that naive, or do you really just believe it within your heart that everything in this world has to be about a racial prejudice between black and white? It ain't true, folks. It really is not true. Yeah. Is there a lot of death in the black community? Yeah. There's a lot of death in the black community. Is there a lot of poverty in the black community? Yeah. Is there a lot of despair and a lot of sadness and everything in black communities? Yeah. Is there a lot of death in white communities? I don't know. The news doesn't go on that because everything has to be racial. So why would they show a lot of death in the white communities with white people? There's no race in it. So I really don't know whether there's a whole bunch of this same stuff going on in white communities as there is in black communities. I know that everything has to be about race, and I'm getting really tired of it, you know. So I'm just hoping that people can actually feel better about themselves in some way, and stop just trying to blame everything on the color of skin. Like, the color of your skin has absolutely no connection. There is no connection. Maybe we can get a grant to see if there is a connection between the color of your skin and the way your brain functions and how smart you are. Maybe we can get that connection. I don't see the connection myself. Your outward appearance really doesn't have much to do with the way you think. Yeah. Well, I can't say that. I guess the outward appearance has a whole lot to do with the way you think, but it's not on a biological level, on a social level, on a psychological level, on those levels. Yeah, it seems to be directing the way that you see yourself. Yeah, and it's crazy. You got white people who see themselves superior to somebody else, and it's like they don't even have food on the table, but yet they feel good about themselves because they're white. Okay, that's good. You're hungry? Yeah, they're starving. They can feel good about themselves and be starving too. Then you got black people who got a whole bunch of food all over the table and stuff like that, and don't feel good about themselves because they're black. And it's like, okay, why is this? It's like it doesn't make any sense. If you feel good about who you are in your skin, then feel good about yourself. Don't let it go into something and say, okay, man, I'm doing good. I got a good job. I got food on the table. I got a loving wife and family and stuff. Everything's going good, you know. Oh man, but you know, if I go out to the store, I'm not going to get the same treatment as somebody else. What's up with that? Don't go to the store then if you're afraid if you're not going to get the same treatment. It's like, stop putting all these roadblocks in your way. And I think it's media driven. I'm not going to pretend it's not media. It's in your face all the time. That's why I'm so tired of it. It's like it's always in your face. It's a racial issue. It's race. We got all these statues now, taking down these statues and stuff. I don't really care. I don't care who put the statue up or why they put the statue up. Now you're going to take it down. It's like, okay, yeah, your great-great-grandfather fought on the Confederate side. What does that have to do with you? Nothing. Not my great-great-grand. Well, you know that's my relatives. Yeah, that's your relative, all right. Okay. You ever meet him? No, he did. He been there for a long time before I was born. But that's my heritage. No, it's not. No, that was an incident that helped define this country for the way it is. It helped build this country. It was tearing down this country, and then it emancipated a lot of slaves. It brought a lot of commerce into the country. There was a political divide that was happening within this country that would have decimated this country. You know, if the Confederates had won the war, then there would be a separation within this country. You would have Mississippi as a dividing line. It wouldn't be the big United States of America. You'd have two different factors just like this. You'd have, if you wanted to bring something from Virginia over into Massachusetts, you'd have to pay taxes, a tariff or something like that. Who knows how big and bad this thing would have been like this, you know? The Civil War, totally a bad thing. Good thing for freeing the slaves. Now all the black people have that, you know, they were given the freedoms that they were denied when they were brought over here. So, yeah, that's a moral issue, and that's what we're doing with the racism now. We're sticking morality on the back of racial prejudice, and it's like, okay, you can stick morality on the back of racial prejudice, but you can't stick morality on everything, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to stick morality on everything, yeah, and coupling that with racial prejudice. So, is it immoral to be prejudiced? That's your choice. If you want to be prejudiced, go ahead. Is it immoral to shoot people? Yeah, pretty much. You know, at least in this country, maybe not in other countries. I don't know if it's immoral in some countries to kill people. Seems like it might be. That's what I think. But, you know, in this country, yeah, it's immoral to kill people. And in Chicago, there's this big old number of black people that are killed. So it's all racial and it's immoral. So let's junk it all together and put it on the news and stuff. And then we'll make it so that that's the template. That's the way we'll look at racial prejudice from a moral criminal action going on in one city. Okay, and, all right, so everything else has to go around like that. And it doesn't matter what it is. Statues, yeah, they want to get rid of Christopher Columbus in New York now, you know, statue of Christopher Columbus. Oh, okay, next they'll want to get rid of Ellis Island because, no, they'll keep Ellis Island because a lot of whites came to Ellis Island, you know, so they'll get rid of Ellis Island, but they'll go down into Chicopee Bay down there and get rid of all the bay because that's where the first slaves were brought in from Spain. What were they, 51 or 21 slaves or something like that? That's where the actual first blacks that came in, the slaves came in down there, so we got to close that down. You can't have that bay anymore. Yeah, because it's offensive to me because it is. So, you know, I'm a little bit tired of all this, folks, and I would like to move on from all these all the race and prejudice things like that, and let's kind of focus on the future. You know, I'm really worried about the future. I think the future is going to be. This is just a some people are making a huge amount of money and they're not going to stop making money, and there's a lot of people that's poor that's going to be losing huge amount of jobs. Even pizza delivery. I saw that on the news this morning. Domino's is going to have self-driving cars for pizza delivery. Right now they still going to have a person in the car, but the car's driving itself to the pizza, and they put it, deliver the pizza to 221 Main Street. It stops, you go out, you called it in for the pizza delivery, they give you a code, your code is 111, so you go out to the car, push in 111 and take your pizza. And put your money, and then you go away. It's like, okay, where's the little college kid who used to, or somebody who was making money on their second job delivering pizza? It'll go away. So, I mean, and you can blame it on prejudice and racism too. Eventually we'll have black and white robots. So that's how we'll keep the racism and the prejudice alive, We'll have the black or white robots all over the place, and then we'll see which ones are better. So people, let's grow up and find out how we're going to take the next generation. 'Cause I see a lot of little kids out there. That next generation, and here's a news flash for you. That next generation is going to be the generation that's going to be taking care of a lot of people that's going to be elderly then. And if they don't have any money, if they don't have any job, if they don't have any insights in how they're going to be doing things, and then they're going to fall right into what some of the younger generation and the middle generation and the older generation are doing right now. Drug abuse. They want to feel good. The best high that you can ever have. I never understood that crazy statement about heroin. Are you serious? You done threw up all over yourself, and you're sleeping in the gutter, and you think this is fun? Hey, okay. I'm good. If you think it's fun, go for it. Alright, enough of all that. I just had to talk about that because I'm really tired of just opening up the paper, turning on the news, walking down the street, talking to people that I know, and everything has to be about some kind of racial prejudice and stuff because of the way their life is going. It's never their fault. It's always somebody else's fault, and the somebody else is always the opposite color of what they are. So I'm pretty much tired of it. Speaking of who you are, let's move into what we're still working on. How do you define yourself? How do others define yourself? Define you. Now this is important, folks. This is an important thing to character development, to becoming an archangel. But first off, let's think again about being an archangel. Archangel is not what a whole lot of people think it is. Archangel, even if you want to make it out to be, because the word chivalry, so everybody runs down to the end of the thing of a churn to chivalry. So archangels are a bunch of nice little pansies and stuff like that that's going to hold doors for people like that. Not even close. Archangels are God's warriors, They carry flaming swords and spears and stuff like that. They will put their lives in harm's way just to protect those people that can't. They're brave, they're courageous, and they do morally good. They do those things that are morally right. They make no distinctions about color. They make no distinctions about gender. That's not their job to do. Their job is they see something that needs to be addressed. They address the situation. That's an archangel. Back in the days when people actually lived that kind of life like that, they were called medieval knights. They were called samurais. They were called sentinels in Polynesian type of places. They're not new. There's always been archangels all over the place, that just people that would do the right thing, they didn't get paid, they didn't get any rewards or anything. Their reward was the privilege of being able to help somebody. And they were always there, and they always will be there, you know. The little things that they do are just as big as the big things that they do. And these are what an archangel is, you know. And anybody can be one. Anybody can be one. The only drawback that happens with becoming an archangel is knowing yourself on becoming an archangel. If you don't know who you are, and you can identify those things that make you happy and make you who you are, that give you joy in your life or give you sadness in your life, then it's kind of difficult for you to be an archangel, because you overemphasize trying to do good. You become a overzealous type of person. You push a car up a cliff because a man is stretching on it, you know. So you're thinking, oh, he needs help. I'm going to run over there and be the star, and I'm going to help. And you'll push his car over the cliff. And all he wanted was to stretch, you know. I mean, you do things like that because you don't know who you are. You don't take the time out to figure out who you are. And this is what I think that we're faced with right now. That's why it's a return to chivalry, and that's why, like, prejudice and racial prejudice has such a foothold in this society right now, because people don't know who they are. They don't want to accept the fact that you are somebody courageous, you're brilliant, smart, good looking, and there's other people. There's just me. So I mean, this is where it's at. You have to have. Here's three things that we're going to kind of touch on, and then we might get to a fourth. Imagination. This is what helps develop who you are. Your imagination, your creativity, and fantasy. All right. These are all three positive things. To really understand and really appreciate your own self, you need a vivid imagination. Yeah, you need to have you need to be able to think that there's things outside of you, you know, and that takes imagination. And I'm not talking about the imagination of television and stuff like that. Just sitting down and like we just went through an eclipse. How many people could just sit down and really recall what that eclipse looked like and imagine what that eclipse must have felt if you were really right there and watching the sun burst off on each side and everything. There's the coronas all over the place. I mean, that's imagination. You can imagine how much power is in that. You can imagine all kinds of things, and you know, but that's imagination, and with that imagination, it opens up a fields of discovery for you. You say, yeah, you know, I'm really understanding not understanding what this is all about. I really like to know, because your imagination has been piqued. So now you want to know what it's like for whatever it is that you were imagining. If you wanted to imagine what it was like to be a TV star and stuff, you can do that. You can imagine within yourself being a TV star, or I guess a lot of people imagine being a sports figure and stuff. And you can imagine yourself being a sports figure. But if you don't invoke that imagination into some kind of physical realm of productivity, then, you know, it's still good. It's still imagination, so you become an armchair quarterback. But you can actually go out there and say, okay, yeah, I can imagine myself being a football player. Now you go out there and you start playing football. You start throwing the football, you start doing it. Imagine yourself being a writer. You go out there and start writing. You learn how to formulate a sentence that's going to move to the next sentence, to the next, to the next, to the next, and finally the book's coming. You can imagine yourself doing all these things, but it takes that imagination first. So imagination is really important on becoming an archangel, because to becoming an archangel, you can imagine what it's like just to do something for somebody and they say thank you. And you can imagine that thank you is huge. Everybody doesn't get real thank you. Sometimes people get thank you, you know, all kinds of William wishy-washy thank yous and stuff. But when you do something for somebody, just because it's the right thing to do, that thank you is huge, it's pronounced, it's robust, it's a great thank you, it's a thank you that you just don't get, you know, and that's a privilege. And that comes from imagination. You can imagine that, and then you can go out and do that. You can work on that imagination. So imagination is powerful when developing, trying to be an archangel, or being anybody. Imagination. And then we got creativity. Creativity is it goes along with imagination, but it's different than imagination. A creative mind is an active mind. An imaginative mind is active too, but not on the same levels as a creative mind. A creative mind, in some areas, people would actually say, oh, he's just a nuisance. He's disturbing. He never sits still. He's all over the place. He's rambling because his mind's so creative. It's wanting to have things to do. So you take this creative mind and you put it to good work. What can I do today that's good? And that all comes from a creative mind. You know? You wake up, like I wake up in the morning and that's one of the things I say, oh boy, what can I do today that's going to be a good thing to do? You know? And the good I mean by helping somebody or doing something that's good, or whatever it is, you know? It's a good thing. That's creative. You know, I might say, yeah, you know, I heard about this thing, like you got the flood. I heard about they need these things. It'd be a good thing for me to gather up some of these clothes I bought. The tags are still on them. I never put them on. I just bought them because I thought I was supposed to buy them. So I bought them, and I can donate those to the people who really need some help. Or I can go down and I can give some money to somebody who really needs some help because of a disaster or something. That's creative. That's a creative thought. You know, because you acted on it, you thought about it, it made you feel good, and you were excited about it. So these are creative type of thoughts, and creativity is huge because this is what fuels the future. That and imagination, those two things together now, they're going to make things happen because that creative mind's going to, you know, the imagination's going to say, yeah, I bet a car can fly. And that creative mind's going to be taking over and say, yeah, I can make that car fly. All I got to do is get it off the ground. You know? And if you don't have a creative mind, you're going to defeat yourself. You say, I can't get the car off the ground. It weighs too much. But with a creative mind, you say, how am I going to make the car, am I going to make the car lighter? Or am I going to find some way to propel the car up? How am I going to get the lift to get the car off the ground? So now you start thinking about things. So your imagination and your creative mind are working together to create a flying car. You know? And you could do that. I'm sure there's somebody alive right now, as I'm speaking, that's going to create a flying car. And what does that have to do with Archangel? Not a whole lot, but, but I thought I'd just throw it in there. But like I said, with the creative mind, you can always wake up and think about, what am I going to do that's good today, that's going to benefit somebody or benefit society if you're that creative. So I guess the flying car will be a benefit to society. You know? And that's outstanding. And these are things that archangels do. And this is a return to chivalry, and after I do fantasy, then I'll show you why it's a return to chivalry. So let's go to fantasy. Now fantasy is fantasy. And fantasy is what, folks? It's an emotional feeling to some kind of whatever it is that makes you feel good. It's a fantasy. It's an imagination. It's something that's imagined and stuff. So you might fantasize about being the king of the world and stuff. You know? And it's not imagination, but it's fantasy. You know you're not really wanting to be the king of the world, but within your fantasy, as you're thinking about Well, okay, we won't even go to King of the World. We'll go to hitting the Powerball. Everybody fantasizes about hitting the Powerball. Gonna win millions of dollars, they're fantasizing about this, and the first thing that happens in their fantasy, which is I guess normal for everybody, they ain't ever won. They just bought the ticket. Then they get guilt. You know? And they gotta justify this guilt. So the first thing that they're doing with all this fantasy millions of dollars that they won, well, I'm gonna take care of my family. You know, you didn't even like your family. you already fantasizing that you won all these millions of dollars, so to justify within your mind that now you are in a different state of mind and everything, and you're in a different financial setting, you're going to take care of your family. And the guilt hasn't gone away because it's a fantasy, so now you're going to have to take care of some of your friends, especially the ones who might say, you know, when you get to be rich and successful, you have to always help out somebody who's not rich and successful. So, all right, I'm going to have to donate money to different organizations and all this here because, you know, that's the right thing to do. You're still fantasizing, you're working off of guilt. You're trying to justify within your own mind that you got lucky. Because you can't say lucky. No, it's not luck that made you win the Powerball. You know, when you finally get done with all the fantasy, then you could say, yeah, it was luck that won that Powerball. You know, but before that, you know, you were deserving, you were a good, righteous individual. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I've always wanted this and stuff. So if all these type of things come into play because it's a fantasy, and fantasies are important. Those type of fantasies, they give rise to all kinds of different type of things that you really wouldn't know what to do, because after you get done with your fantasizing and giving away the money and everything, here comes the reality. You don't have knowledge, number one, on what it's like to be a millionaire. You know? You know that you don't want to say, okay, I got, what was the last one, $700+ million.
746.
Yes, I got $746 million. I'm running right out there and become a slut. You know, you know, you're not going to use those words, but that's what you're thinking. You might use the word, I think I'll become Ernest Hemingway, and I'll drink a lot and chase women, and I'll go to different countries and run with the bulls, and I'll do all kinds of things like that. It's like you have no idea. It becomes because you don't know who you are. If you knew who you were, you know, your creative images and your imagination, you might say, I'm building that car that can fly, you know. I got all this money like this. I've always wanted to build a flying car. I'm building that flying car. Or whatever it is that your imagination and your creative self wanted you to do, you'd be able to do. If you know yourself. You see, if you don't know yourself, I'm becoming Ernest Hemingway. I'm going to drink, grow a beard, chase women, run with the bulls. I'm going to go all around the world. I'm going to write novels with a whole lot of words in them, little words, because I don't want to spell the big words, and I'm going to be all kinds of famous and stuff like this. It's going to be wonderful. Because you don't know who you are, so you have to pick somebody else to be. You know? But if you knew who you were, because of your imagination and your creativity, then you would be acting upon those things that you really like to do. Because that's who you became, that's who you want to be. So, and that's where ArchAngel comes into play, because like I said earlier in the thing about the racism and stuff like that with the moral and everything, you can easily, plainly see that everybody wants to be a righteous individual and be morally sound and morally straight. They all want to be that, or there wouldn't be such a connection between racial prejudices and morality. you know, it wouldn't be there. 'Cause everybody wants to be somebody that's a moral individual. So with these three things like this here, you could become that moral individual. You'll be moral individual anyways. All you gotta do is be moral. But you can become an archangel, and you can use all your energies out there and in doing things that's righteous, not self-righteous, but in a sense it is self-righteous. You know, I've always told my story about Abraham Lincoln. I didn't hang out with him. I wasn't in that carriage on the bridge and stuff. But you know, here's the way different minds work about knowing yourself. Because they were him and his cabinet for all you who haven't heard this story, you know, or don't know it. It's not new. You know, just bear with it. You know, they're going over the river. And Abraham Lincoln looks down and he sees the mama pig. She's in a frantic state down there. Then he sees the baby pig stuck in the mud. You know, he's the president at the time going over the river. He stops the carriage. He gets out. He goes down into the mud, pulls the baby pigs out of the mud, and gives them to the mama pig. Comes back up into the carriage. Now everybody in the carriage's cabinet is assuming, wow, that was a great thing you did and everything. You know, you're going to be blessed for that. This is what makes you such a great individual and a great president. And this is what everybody's going to see about you. And old Abe, he just tells them, that ain't why I did it. He said, I had to go down there so I could sleep tonight. You know, and he knew, because he knew who he was, he knew he wouldn't be able to sleep. He would feel so guilty about leaving those little pigs and that frantic pig mama down there in the mud, where all he had to do was go down there in the mud and take them out. Yeah, his shoes got dirty and his pants got dirty, but that's all he had to do. And that washed away all that stuff. That's what archangels do. You know, sometimes they do things because they want to go to sleep at night. So they know they're supposed to do this righteous thing. Sometimes they do righteous things because they always know it's the right thing to do. Lincoln knew that was the right thing to do. His reasoning for doing it because he wanted to go to sleep. Yeah, and that's all right, you know. But you know, to do that with a human being and stuff, you get a reward. You get a thank you. Yeah? Just like all them people in the flood right there. You see people carrying people across flooded streets and stuff like that. Those people could walk, but they're carrying the people across the street like that. They're engaging themselves in a fantasy and an imaginative and a creative way of being somebody. You know? They're taking advantage of that situation and everything because they know it's the right thing to do. They absolutely know it's the right thing to do. It's exciting. Some people might be out there to do that because they want to get a lot of slaps on the back from everybody about how good and they were to do this. That's self-righteousness, you know. But I think most of the people that's out there wading through those waters and stuff like that to help out, and they're going to have a life-changing experience. There's true stories where people with real racist kind of upbringings and stuff, and real racist type of mindsets and everything, they've helped somebody from who doesn't look like them, and then all of a sudden in that moment it's like, oh, I didn't know. Oh, you just like me, you know? And this isn't white on black or black on white. It could be anything. It doesn't really make any difference. People, once they have a hardship and that hardship is shared, they find out. Not everybody, but 99.9% of the people find out. Well, yeah, everybody is just like me, you know? And I help this, and they feel good when they help somebody, because here's this person that they may have had all these kind of false feelings about, that they went out and helped because that's what archangels do, because it's the right thing to do, and that person said thank you. That's a privilege that they never had before. because they never helped anybody. You know, the only thing that they were taking care of were their own self-interest. And there's a lot of them people that take care of their own self-interest, and they want to be seen as somebody with a straight moral compass too, you know. But their moral compass, it's not active. So you don't know if it's straight or whether it just goes in a circle. You really don't know, because they never really had they never seized the opportunity to do something that they knew was the right thing to do. And when they do and interact with somebody who looks different than them, I mean, to do the right thing to do for your neighbor, it's nice and everything, but it's your neighbor. You know your neighbor. Or do the right thing for your family. It's your family. You know your family. But to do the right thing for somebody you don't know, and especially somebody who doesn't look like you, yeah? And I'm not talking about going in your pocket and giving $1 or something like that. I'm just talking about doing the right thing, maybe a smile and a hello. That might be the right thing to do at one point in time, you know? Or just to listen to somebody that you didn't know. You know, you might be sitting on the husband chairs outside of a department store in the Midwest, and somebody else sat down too because they're hot and tired, and you have a conversation with them and stuff. And they don't look anything like you. They're not even, and you're sitting down there and you're finding out, wow, this person just like me. And both of you are just sitting right there talking and listening back and forth at each other and engaging in a human thing of conversation. And that's the right thing to do. That's ArchAngel stuff. You know, other people might sit down there and move over from them. Oh, I can't be sitting next to you. You know? Yeah, because you don't look like me, so if I'm too close to you, then I'm going to get cooties. And I don't want no stinking cooties. You know? So it's like that. That's how that stuff works. But again, going back here, so if you're able in your development within yourself to know who you are, if you're able to look within yourself and see the fantasies, to see your creativity, and to see your imagination at work, and use these things to define who you are. Like I said, not that outward appearance defining, not that I'm 6'2", I'm 225, I'm black, I'm brown, I'm an Indian, I'm African American, I'm an Irishman. You know, not that. Not that. Those type of things, those are for other people to judge you by, and we're going to go right into that. I don't even know if I'm going to pay bills today. I might just keep rambling. You know, because those are the markers that people use to judge other people by. Now, people see you and stuff like that walking down the street, and you know, if you're slouched over and you're not walking straight, and you don't have a little bounce in your step, and there's no smile on your face, and you're black or you're brown or you're white or whatever it is, this is what people see, and then they judge you by what they see. Oh, that poor guy. They don't know what's wrong with you. You might have fell out on the street and hurt your back. They don't know because they didn't take time to see that. But they're gonna judge you by your appearance like that. And then they're going to put other markers on your appearance too. They're going to look at your clothing that you wear. If you're dressed in a nice suit and shoes, here's the thing too, folks. This is for all you wannabes and you make-believes out there. When you put on your nice suits and stuff like that, I can tell that you just put that suit on once a week, you know, or maybe not even once a week, because you don't shine your shoes. People, ArchAngels shine their shoes. ArchAngels will take great pride in the small things. They don't need to put on the fanciest suit, you know, $2,000, $3,000 suit and stuff. They can put on a suit off the rack, but you look at their shoes are shine. That's what ArchAngels do. They pay attention to that stuff because that's something that speaks highly of your character. The other person when you're judging somebody, and that's exactly what you're doing. You're judging them, and their shoes are sloppy, and they got on a $3,000 suit. It's like, okay, where'd you get that suit from? You know, don't know. So people do this to you all the time. People judge people. It's not judging. It's how they see you. You know, and this is how you want. You know, it doesn't matter how people see you. It's how you see yourself. This is a very difficult topic. That's why I'm not going to break. Because it really makes little difference on whether you can fancy yourself up, or what they say, oh, he cleans up well. It makes little difference about whether you can clean up your exterior well and your insides are still dirty and no good. You know? Because that's the part that you have to live with. And that's bad, because people could see you in any kind of walk of life. If you hang out with the what I be calling now the social warriors and stuff like that, they dress, you know, in jeans and like they're from the Midwest up here in the Northeast. You know, this is how they dress. They like to dress like this, and this is kind of what. And you see they see another person dressed like that, and they perceive that this is a good person, and they perceive that this is a smart person, only because they look similar to what they're wearing. It doesn't make them a good person? I don't know. Does it make them a smart person? I don't know. But if you see an archangel, you know, you know the archangel. Archangels have a swagger about them too. All these other people don't have a swagger. And a swagger is kind of an air, that the way they walk and stuff, because their imagination and creativity and their fantasies are intact. They know who they are. Just by those three little things like that, they know who they are. So they walk with a swagger because they're always ready to do what is right. Because they never know when something's going to come up where they get an opportunity just to make somebody else feel good. And that only takes a second. They're not walking around looking for disasters to go help people. They're just walking around being themselves, and within themselves they're always ready to do that. And you can see that, and other people see that too. And you'll be surprised that if you want to, you archangels out there, you can look at other people when they see you coming and notice that their head goes down. Their head will go down. They won't want to make eye contact with you. Even if they're wearing the best three-piece suit that could be owned, or the fanciest dress, or any of that, they won't want to make eye contact with you. Another archangel, he'll want to make eye contact with you. You know? So, I mean, this is how other people see you. And they have these little cues that they have, but they try to mask them and stuff. But everybody can be an archangel. Remember that, folks. Everybody and anybody at any time can be an archangel. And once you become an archangel, or just even in that moment become an archangel, then you'll automatically walk with this swagger, and then look at the people that see you and you'll notice exactly that those people that you thought were seeing you in a whole lot of light because you was wearing all these suits and everything like that, they won't make eye contact, because they'll see that your moral compass is always straight, and they'll see that you're always there to do the right thing. They'll see that you're so filled with love that you know they can't justify their actions with that, you know, because they don't know how, because they don't know who they are, because they're busy trying to project the image of who they are in some other way, you know, and that's hard, and that gotta hurt, you know. I think it gotta hurt anyway. Huh? Walking around trying to be somebody else all the time, that's gotta be pretty rigid. But you don't have to do that. An archangel doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have. An archangel, he's not always looking for a thank you. He might not get thank you all day and done things just because he's supposed to do things. little things. I'm not talking about the big grandiose things. I'm just talking about the little itty bitty things, you know. A little smile, you know. If you see a baby with ice cream all over its face like that and you don't smile, what's wrong with you? You know, that's funny. So you just be smiling and stuff. And that makes the parents feel good. Yeah? They didn't abuse that child. That child had ice cream, had no idea on how to eat the ice cream, and the parent let the child enjoy the ice cream, and then they can clean it up. And you gave their parents everything they needed for what they wanted to extend the joy from giving that kid an ice cream. You smiled or even chuckled at the kid with the ice cream all over the face, and the parent loved that. That's ArchAngel stuff. That's showing love, you know. You could walk right by that person and never even see the kid. It's like, you know, and who would that be? That'd be the person in the three-piece suit with the dirty shoes, you know. And he ain't got a swag, he's got a head bowed down and stuff. And that's pretty sad. So knowing yourself is so important. That's so important. Now let's take a quick look at analyzing yourself. Let's look at analyzing some of the strengths that it takes in knowing yourself. Outside of these three very important ones right here: imagination, creativity, and fantasy. There's other things for analyzing yourself. You know. Here go one. Do you find the world an interesting place? You know, that's powerful. How many people find the world an interesting place today? There's a whole bunch of people out there that find the world really rigid, hard, and they find themselves as a victim. So it can't be interesting to them because they're walking around in a negative state all the time. They're a victim. There's nothing happening that's nice. You know, so, you know, if being an ArchAngel, you can find the interest in the world. The baby with the ice cream on his face. That's interesting. That's fun. You know? Yeah, but most people are so negative, they run right towards the negative, and then the world to them, totally confusing, unhappy, dirty. It doesn't have any joy to them or something, so they're living in a bad place. So your strength is find the world an interesting place. Find the joy and happiness that's in the world, and you'll find that just by doing those little itty bitty things that make other people feel good. And then another one. I never quit a task before it's done. That's a hard one, you know. That's a hard one because you know as a leader, sometimes you don't quit the task, but you have to alter the way the task is being addressed. You know, that's an ArchAngel. If you're going in, you got to go in all the way. The situation might change once you get in there, but you go in all the way. You know, that's how it is. You know, you don't go in at half speed. You don't change up your speed when you go in there and slow it down. If you're going in full throttle, you go in full throttle so that you know that you're going in, and that's it. And then you don't quit. That's what it is. And then the task, will it get done? Yeah, eventually. But it may take a while, and you may have to alter the way that you address it. But when you're going in, you go in full throttle and you stay the course. And then number 3, always admit when you're wrong. That's a hard one too. That's a real hard one for people that aren't archangels. People that don't have any idea of archangels because they really don't have a solid moral compass. They can't admit when they're wrong. They're never wrong because they can't admit when they're wrong, because if they're wrong, then they're vulnerable to all these people that they're trying to impress. They know they won't be able to impress these people because they're wrong. And it's easy to be wrong. All you got to do is lie. You're wrong. You know? And then once you do that, you're wrong. So, you know, if you're wrong, and sometimes people get to be wrong, you know, and if you're wrong, you made a bad decision and everything, you can admit that you made that decision. At least, at the very least, admit it to yourself. That oh man, that was a dumb mistake I made. I'm not making that mistake again. And this is, at least be able to do that for yourself. And many people can't do that for themselves. They can't admit that they made a mistake because they're so tied to the image that they want everybody to see them as, that they can't admit that they did something wrong. You know, so that's another thing. I mean, it's hard to be an archangel, all right? And always try. This is another one. Always try to include everybody in what you're doing. If you're given, you're an archangel, so you're given the task to lead something. You know, you're gonna be taking the lead on trying to put the curriculum for a new school in play, or you're taking the lead, you know, to bring your ideas with all the other people that you live with to the school committee or something. You know. But engage everybody. Just don't go up there and say, this is my idea, or that's my, no, this is, I'm just a spokesperson for everybody right here. This is Bill's idea, this is Will's idea, this is Mary's idea right here. And you bring everybody who put those ideas out there. You're just a spokesperson, you know. You're a little bit more than a tape recorder. You know, that's all you really come down to. And that's archangel. You don't need the glory. You don't need the glory. So you gauge everybody in the thing. That's what archangels do. Yeah. And if the question's too hard, refer it to the person who gave you the idea. This is the way you get things done, and this is the way everybody stays engaged. And this is what archangels do. And then here's one that a lot of people just can't do. Look on the bright side. Like I said back up here, they live in a negative world. They can't see the bright side. Everything's negative. They're always in the dark. You have to get out the dark. You have to look on the bright side. Everything, no matter what it is, you know, it has some silver lining to it, I guess is what you would want to call it. There's a bright side to everything. And everybody goes through challenges and stuff. I'm going through a little bit of a nuisance type of ordeal myself right now, but it's okay. It's okay. It ain't gonna last forever. And then everything will be all right. You know, or not. Don't know. But I look on the bright side. I don't know why these people weren't able to take care of the business and do what they were supposed to do. I don't know their lifestyle and everything. So, you know, I don't have to be negative about it and put all kinds of different things on it. I could easily say, yeah, if I was white, this wouldn't happen. You know, yeah, I could say that if I want to. Is it true? No. Yeah, because the situation, even though the situation directly affects me, I don't know what their life is like. So what made them drop the ball on what they're supposed to do? I don't know. You know. And, you know, as an archangel, you know, if I could help them out, I'd still help them out. You know? If it was malicious and anything like that, if they really had some kind of thing against me and they were going to suffer or make me suffer and stuff like that, you know, I ain't going to be too pleased with that. You know, and I can let them know I'm not pleased with that. They get too stupid, I still go 6'2", 225. So it's like, I want to go there. But yeah, I'm, you know, like I said, archangels aren't what you perceive. We're not little nicety, nice, kind of sweet, loving kind of people. We're warriors who have a whole lot of courage and a whole lot of, with that whole lot of courage comes a whole lot of strength. Because it takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength to do some of these things that I just was talking about, you know. Because the courage that it takes, people are going to talk about you, people are going to see you. And it takes a lot of courage to maintain that high degree of happiness. No, it doesn't. I do it all the time. I just enjoy it. Let me see before I get ready to close here. Yep. Yeah, this is the last one here. You want to fully participate in life, not just on the sideline looking in. This is important to be an archangel, because if you're fully engaged in life, you're fully engaged in just living life. You're not engaged in trying to be an archangel, not engaged in trying to be a moral compass type of model or any of those things, but just fully engaged in life. Things are going to come your way to where you can actually help people. Not big grandiose things. Maybe grandiose things will come, make you feel all good and everything like that. But the joy of life is going to be all over you. And the biggest joy in life is a thank you from somebody. You know, just a heartfelt thank you. Might even come with a hug. Never know. Never know. You know, but this is it. You're engaged in life. You're walking in there. You're seeing people for who they are. You're not seeing people for what you want them to be or any of those things like that. You're not engaged in the negative aspects of prejudice and racism. Who cares? You know, you're engaged in the joys and happiness of life. Yeah, and that's important. I think we're going to talk a little bit more about next week on being fully engaged in life and finding the world as an interesting place. And then we're going to talk a little bit about failure. You know? Yeah, that's right, folks. Failure is fun. If you don't fail, you don't try. You know? Because there's always going to be a little bit of failure in your life. So next week, I can hardly wait now. You know, we can talk about these things, and I hope everybody who tuned in or didn't tune in or want to hear this later or something like that has a great day and has a whole lot of fun. And I hope that your swagger starts to come out, you know, and you can judge that swagger, because all you got to do is look at those people who see you walking. They won't look at you. They won't look in your eyes, you know. That's a measure of, I don't know why that is, but they won't. So if you're an archangel and you know that you're an archangel and you're walking with a swagger and you want to test your swagger, say hello to somebody. They won't look at you. They'll look away or they'll look down. But that doesn't mean anything. Just your kindness and heart will be the one that's going to turn them from that negative walk of life that they're on. So I want everybody I'm thanking everybody. I want everybody to have that fun. And this is Truth to Joe. And I didn't pay no bills. Nah, I couldn't, because I didn't want to run out of time.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Hey, I'm going to see if that guy